All right, so we're back with another Nintendo Pipeline podcast episode for you guys. I usually don't say episode numbers, but we've hit the big 30 this week, so
Whoa.
go us, I guess. Today is once again an Animal Crossing episode. Now that the 2.0 update and Happy Home Paradise expansion have been out for a while, we've all been playing and kind of wanted to talk a little bit about our thoughts on it. So with that out of the way, hi, I'm CMM. With me, I have,
One up Muffin, but you can call me Jared.
and then we have a special guest today who is.
James, but you can call me Dad.
Oh, okay. Hi, Dad.
It's because I have more hours in the video game than any of you.
Well, how many hours do you have, Dad?
I think it's 1,010 now.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, that's more than me. Yeah.
I have maybe 105.
Wow, you suck. I'm around 400, I think,
Wow.
at least.
So varying levels of Animal Crossing addiction here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a crap ton of stuff added with this big final update. It's kind of the equivalent of the Welcome Amiibo update for New Leaf in terms of just size. We've got cooking. We've got more, gardening aspects of like different crops that you can plant besides pumpkins. Cap'n's back. We have morning stretches. We've got the roost. We have the entirety of Happy Home Paradise, which is pretty much a sequel to Happy Home Designer on the 3DS. So I guess we can start with James. What have you been finding most enjoyable like so far with the new content?
I deeply appreciate all the new items because I played quite a bit before the new update. Like, obviously, the vast majority of that 1,000 hours was over the past year. So I kind of felt like I'd seen everything. But now
Right.
all these new items come out, and I had kind of been leaving parts of my island undeveloped because I was expecting something like this. And to be honest, after E3 this year, I was kind of worried it wasn't coming.
Yeah.
So it's actually been kind of nice to, finally finish up most of those areas that were left underdeveloped. I've also very much enjoyed talking to Brewster every day.
Yes.
He is a wonderful, wonderful man. And I absolutely love his roasts.
He's pretty great, and there's a bit more to him than it initially seems as well, which is nice.
I gotta go talk to him again. I didn't realize that his dialogue changed, like the Able sisters or something.
Yeah, he's very much like a Sable type of character who becomes more and more friendly as you progress through. And instead of being totally well, no, Sable's not totally backloaded. She gives you, once she starts giving you patterns, she gives them to you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But Brewster's kind of similar in that he will give you more and more rewards as it goes on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
At fairly regular intervals.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Another thing that I didn't realize had rewards associated with it is the stretching. The tape deck stretching at the plaza. If you do it consecutively, you can get some stuff for doing that.
Is it more than just Nook points?
Yes, apparently. Involves
Oh, wow.
items. So,
Really? I
Huh.
actually didn't know that because that's the one thing I typically forget to do unless I have a Nook Mile Plus to do it.
yeah, I did it once, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll do it occasionally, but apparently, if you do it, I don't know if you can, if it, if say, I don't know if it has to be a streak or if it has to be cumulative. The wording suggested it needed to be a streak. But, yeah, I stumbled into that the other day, so if anyone didn't know that, and maybe didn't want to know that, sorry, but definitely check it out. I don't think most people would think to kind of do that daily, so...
Yeah, I
Well,
definitely.
there is a Nook Mile card for it, so that
Yeah.
they do kind of encourage it, but yeah,
Right.
it definitely never sounds like something that you would necessarily want to do every day because it is kind of repetitive.
Yeah, it's slow and takes time.
I guess it's probably better if you get up and actually do it.
Yeah, I was
Because
gonna ask.
I play the game mostly well, I play it handheld, and when I play it on the TV, I usually use a Pro controller, so it's like
Yeah.
not actually moving anything to do that. So
Have either of you tried it with Joy-Con?
No, I've actually not been on at that time. It's like in the mornings, right?
you can
You can
do
do
it
it
whenever.
anytime.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you just click on the tape deck. Well,
Wow.
tap.
I did
click
not
tape
know
deck.
that. I guess I just did not experiment enough. I've just walked past that every day.
Yeah, I think it was
Wow.
the GameCube game. It was tied to the morning
Yeah.
calisthenics.
Oh,
Yeah, it was an event that would happen at the fountain with the cop dogs who have been
gotcha.
banned.
Yeah,
Well, not
ACAB,
banned.
bro.
They are in the game with 2.0 now. If you summon them through Amiibo,
It's not
so
like they're not in the game, you know?
yeah, they're not like
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, there's that. I know for me, what I've been spending a lot of time on is just kind of finally like doing a lot of the daily. Well, my daily routines have changed in Animal Crossing to be revolve more around the new content. So, I set the later ordinance, which the late ordinance kind of sucks in this one because it's only an hour extension. So, Able Sisters are open till 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock, and Nooks is open till 11 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. Big freaking whoop. But
What was it in New Leaf? Was it 3 hours?
it brought you to midnight, I believe, at least. So I expected it to be the same here, and it's not, which is a bit upsetting. I don't know if the other ordinances are mostly the same or not. I'm assuming the early morning one just does it by an hour now too, but I haven't tried it.
I just set mine to Bell Boom.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
That seems like the most reasonable one to use since the
I
other
feel
ones
like
are.
I feel like the green one is a massive mistake to use because flowers grow like weeds.
Yeah,
as
oh
it
my
is.
god, I would not want more flowers.
Well, especially with winter coming up, since snow is equivalent to rain in this game,
Yeah.
and your entire island just kind of gets taken over by that mess.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It took me like an hour to clean up last winter's mess because I just kind of let it go. Because I was like,
Yep.
I'm not going to clean this up once, and then it's going to snow tomorrow and happen again.
Right. Yeah.
They
So
were.
it was like,
Oh, yeah, go on.
once the snow ended, I was like, oh, finally, I can clean out all the flowers. And it literally took like an hour to dig them up. I would have given anything for some kind of item in this update to just
Yeah.
just swing it like a scythe or something.
Yeah. I think the joke was weed whacker, but for flower.
That would
Just
be
use it
very
on
funny.
flowers. I would have also loved that. But so yeah, for me the daily routine of like, going to Captain's Island, incorporating a trip to Harv's Island in there at least, once or twice a week.
I was gonna say I want to interject about Harv's Island for a second,
Yeah.
if I may.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I found it positively disappointing that the merchant characters only update their stock on Monday.
Yeah, I am sad that they don't update it as frequently.
I
thought
really
it was gonna
wanted
be
it to
like
be
daily.
every day.
Yeah, or even like twice a week, I'd be okay with.
It's like I thought that finally be able to finish my freaking art museum, dude. I still need
Yeah.
like 7 pieces, and like Red shows up with 2 fake ones on Monday, and I'm like, well, this is a freaking bust.
Yeah, he showed up with a couple fakes, and then he'll show up with stuff I already have.
It's always
And I
that
think that's
woman
calculated.
pouring the milk. It's always that one. I've had it since like day one.
I forget what he brought for me. He brought me like fake statues. I don't know what it is, but I get so many more paintings than statues. And he never brings me real statues. They're always fakes.
I think statues have a lower like chance of showing up in general, and I don't know if that's just an anecdotal evidence or what, but I really
Yeah.
do feel, because I watched my mom play her copies of the game, and she seems to not get statues as often as paintings either.
Yeah. Speaking of Harv's Island, I guess it's probably a good time to talk about Harv's Island in general, since that is kind of one of the bigger things that got added. So, everyone probably knows, but there's a bunch of different merchants that you can pay bells to set up like a little mini shop for. And a lot of those merchants are like some of the traveling visitors that come to your town, but there's also a few like unique ones. Um, and so I guess I we can kind of continue where James left off on this, but what did you think of what do you think of Harv's Island in this update one up, Jared?
Yeah, should I go back to my what I've been doing later? Start with Hearts for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can continue.
With which one? Sorry.
Oh, whatever you've been doing and stuff.
Yeah, I've been sorry about that. I've been doing. I love doing the Cap'n Islands. I think that's like I got really bored of the Nook Mile trips, but I think this one's it's refreshing and it's kind of I don't know. It's fun because I'm finding like the gyroids every day, which is one of my new favorite things to do. Finding gyroids, using the Happy Home stuff to redecorate my house more. Like I'm doing like a full like removing everything and like resetting up the rooms, which I've never done before. And it's exciting to redecorate again.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of have a reason to not lock yourself into whatever you already had going on.
Mm-hmm. And then, go on.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and then I was going to say with Harv's Island, I really like that feature. Harv's Island was useless before this. And this is a really cute, like, city replacement from the New Leaf one.
Oh, like Main Street. Yeah, I dig it. I wish they gave Harriet something to do after she gives you those, like, handful of haircuts. Because I think she just says, like, the same one line after that. It's like, oh, take your time here, sugar. I'm like, okay. But I do like it. Again, what James said, I wish they replenished or reset their merchandise more than, once a week. And I've wanted to use Katrina more, but by the time I go to Harv's Island, I'm usually like towards the end of my play session anyway. So, I just don't get my fortune read that often. I do think the Purify thing is kind of funny though. If she gives you a bad fortune, you can pay 10,000 bells for her to purify you, and then she sends you an item in the mail the next day. I don't really know how that works, or if they're unique to her, or what it is, but
for what it's worth, the one item I've gotten from her, she's only given me a bad fortune once.
Yeah.
And she gave me a golden turtle standing on a pile of golden coins, which is pretty dope. But it was also orderable from the catalog, so I don't know if they're unique, but generally things that are orderable from the catalog aren't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I had never seen that item before.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
and
myself.
I deeply appreciated it.
I forgot what she gave me, but...
But really, the king of Harv's Island is Cyrus.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Because now I'm not stuck with those ugly freaking green carnival rides anymore. I can make them that black and gold good stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's the function I've used the most on the island. Particularly because the main room in my house has a lot of rattan. I don't know how you say that, but the baskety kind of looking furniture. And I would get regular brown, but then like half of my items were reddish brown and they didn't match, and it was driving me insane. So I packed them all up and headed to Cyrus to take care of that one for me.
I'm glad they found a way to reincorporate those two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I found it kind of crazy that this whole, like that was their whole thing. Well, retail existed, obviously, but Cyrus's whole thing in the last game, which he was introduced in, was customization. And then they make this entire game about customization, and the alpacas are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Except for their wedding anniversary that they want pictures for every single day for the month of June.
That is like the worst event in the game. Yeah, I said it.
It's unique at first. The problem is that you have to do it so many times. If you didn't have to do it so many times, then it would be much more bearable. But like after you go through all three like major, or honestly 2 major themes they have you go through, it's just you spam items until they're happy.
Right. It's just one of those things that like you just want to cheese it because there's no reason to actually do it after the first, like, she's like, I want natural, I want cute, and then I think there is one other one.
There is, yeah. But, like, yeah. Because it's like, one is the actual wedding and one is the reception.
Right.
But there's 3 sets of, like, themes, I guess, for the 2 versions of what they want. So it's kind of, yeah.
They also should have brought Shrunk back.
I miss Dr. Shrunk.
That island would be a great place for Shrunk. And he could even have his old role. Like, he could just teach new reactions instead of having them be buyable by Nook Miles.
Yeah, and Harriet, you know, even though you can buy hairstyles, Harriet still has some unique ones that she teaches.
Right, and I think that's a good way to incorporate that character into the game.
Yeah.
It's weird that she has a crush on Harv, because Harv is a creepy weirdo, and I think that Harriet can do a lot better than him.
I agree. It's weird that they're a thing and she's like a hippie or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like her outfit. I think she looks good
I do too.
in that
She kind of
outfit.
looks really cool.
I just don't think that Harv is the right dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It's the wrong dog.
I just wish after she's done giving you new haircuts, that she had some sort of purpose, or at least had, like, you know, like, you talk to her and maybe she has like something kind of like Brewster, or Sable, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it would be cool if that just unlocked more haircuts even.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, she has some, but like,
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know how game development works, because I don't, and I don't want to sound like I do. But I do feel like things like haircuts are probably one of the easier things to implement, and it's not like there's a million of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's maybe 30 total.
Yeah, I think it's a decent selection, and I do also agree with the idea that, like, too much sometimes is just, like, you kind of, like, you don't really pick anything because you're just kind of, like, you know, shaken by so much choice. Granted, this game has that in excess, so it's not like it would be weird if there were a billion hairstyles, but I'm okay with what they have. But
yeah, I don't want to downplay the content, because there actually is a significant amount of things back that I would have more than I honestly hoped for, I think.
Yeah.
But less than my dreams would have.
Yeah.
Because I'm the idiot. Reasonable. I'm the idiot that wants, like, letters to go back to being more difficult to send, just so we can have the Pelicans back.
I wanted Petey back so badly. That was so sad.
But I know. Well, I want Phyllis back now. Phyllis is my girl. Back.
Phyllis is the love of my life.
She's so mad all the time. And Clay, why do you love women who are always just so miserable?
Because she's awesome. I love her. Oh God, I love the bitchy characters. Like GameCube, I love the grumpy people and everyone who's just an asshole to you.
Yeah.
It's like the grumpy people in this game are just like they're less grumpy and they're just more like old.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
They sound like more like old fogies than they sound like grumpy most of the time.
Because I didn't have a grumpy villager for the longest time, and then I was like, oh, I should probably get one so that I can learn all of the other reactions, because that's how you learn them in this game.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, well, I'm just going to go to islands until I find one, because I didn't care about any of them that much. And I finally get Hopper, the penguin, who I love now. I think he's very, very good. And the dialogue, like, kind of made... I wasn't expecting it to be as brutal as GameCube was, because that doesn't happen anymore. You know? It's like... It's the same reason they got rid of Rossetti, you know? Like, kids... I get it.
Yeah,
I was a young teenager when I first played the GameCube Animal Crossing, and I thought it was funny. But at the same time, I could see, like, my 8-year-old niece playing Animal Crossing and being like, why is this dog being so mean to me? And just kind of, like, not getting it.
Did you call Rossetti a dog?
No, I'm talking like Butch was a grouchy villager, you know.
I was like, what?
No, Rossetti's an underground dog, you know, like a tunneling dog.
A prairie dog.
A tunneling dog. Yeah.
But the grouchy villagers now just kind of seem like boomers.
Yeah.
Because I just remember this piece of dialogue about, because he was talking about like his nephew or something, trying to teach him how to drag and drop something on a desktop computer. And he's like, I didn't know what he was talking about, so I dragged his computer outside and dropped it in the trash. And I was like, all right, that's pretty good.
There's one that they do where it's like, my back, or like something equivalent to that while they're like working on DIYs or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen that one too. So I guess that's a fair thing to do with the grumpy villagers, but I digress.
Yeah, yeah.
There are just things about the old games that I do wish were in the games, and I think that Harv's Island was a really smart way to bring back Katrina and
Yep.
Tortimer, who I was sure was dead.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were.
They
I'm
just
so
weren't.
happy.
I was like, they're just not talking about it, but that turtle is gone, dude.
it would have made sense too with like them having like Daisy May and stuff. Like, I don't know, maybe they should have committed
Right.
to the turtle being dead.
I don't know. Joan wasn't
Joan's
dead.
not dead.
Yeah, you're right.
I really like my favorite detail so far, or one of my favorite details so far, is how right now on Harv's Island, Tortimer is dressed up as Cornimer.
I was gonna bring that up. Do you think that do you think when it starts snowing, he'll start handing out snowflakes?
I don't know. I'd be down with that. I think that's a great function for him.
I want to try to brainstorm what his name. I'm sure someone's time traveled and already figured it out if that's the case. But it's like there's Cornimer, so what is it? Is it like?
I mean, Cornimer was in a previous game as well, but I didn't expect to see him again.
Man, I'd forgotten that was a thing in the old game.
I'd forgotten until I
City
saw
Folk?
him. I think so. I don't totally remember. I just know in a previous game I remember Cornimer being a thing, and I was like, oh man, that's great that he's here. But yeah, I mean, Harp's Island is super cool. It's cheaper to get everything set up than I expected.
Yeah, only 100,000 bells. I genuinely expected the first one to be 100, the second one to be 250, and just to continue climbing upward and onward.
Yeah, or at least have a higher base price in general, maybe 300,000 each or something.
But they actually go down in price as you build them, and as you use the facilities, I think is what triggers the price to go down.
Yeah, there's quote unquote donations that go in.
Well, what I think it is that it's supposed to be a co-op. Like the islands are that whole area is supposed to be a cooperative. So when you put Cyrus there and you spend money having Cyrus customize things.
Yeah.
Some of that money goes back into the pool for the whole cooperative.
Yeah.
Because I did notice that the second and third and fourth one, they weren't 100,000. They were in the low 90s or something like that.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird, but
yeah.
It's like the one thing in Animal Crossing that costs less over time.
Yeah. Outside of it's kind of a similar thing when you do a town project and the donation total will occasionally lower by a few hundred bells to signify that an animal in your village might have contributed something.
As soon as I put down that bridge or incline, I just dropped the money in it, so I've never seen that happen.
Yeah, that happens if you let it sit. It's not much, it's very much nothing, but the co-op is much more dramatic than that.
I played the turnip market so aggressively, I came into this patch with 115 million bells.
Wow. God, I had 8 million.
4.
It's been nice having something to dump those into. I'm down to 90 million bells now because I've been buying so many things.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of the new items they've added are stuff that was really people really wanted. Obviously Froggy Chair is an example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not just that, but even the new brand new stuff, all the glowing moss stuff is rad.
Yeah.
And the vine stuff, the broken pillars.
Yep.
Chef's kiss, man. That stuff's really well designed.
Yeah, it's super cool. And I mean, there's even convenient stuff like the ladder kit that you can assemble if you really want to.
Yeah.
Well, what's cool about the ladder kit is when they showed it, I didn't expect there to be so many different kinds of ladders.
Yeah.
And I also didn't expect the vines that you pick up to be usable like those ladder kits.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really cool thing, too.
Because you can just
Yeah.
place the vines anywhere. And I'm like, oh, this rules.
Jared, what have you done with some of the new items and some of the new stuff in this update?
I got that really nice reclining beach chair from the Pokey place.
Nice.
Made a nice little beach area. And then I'm putting up a bunch of gyroids because everybody needs a gyroid room. And
Yep.
those are the main things so far. Haven't done too much, but got some plans. But the gyroids are just so freaking cute.
I know is one thing I'm slightly disappointed by are the cabin tours actually, because they're definitely more interesting than the Nook tours. But it kind of just boils down to there's a couple of exotic ones, and then there's ones that are like random vegetable, and then there's other ones that are complete trash and are just weeds everywhere.
Yeah.
I was hoping there'd be more variety.
I think the cabin tours will be extremely loved by people who either restarted or didn't start playing the game until after they were implemented.
Yeah.
Because they're on top of there being exotic ones, which are cool.
Yeah.
Because if you land on a vine glowing moss island, so far at least for me, every time I've landed on the vine moss island, the bottle recipe, which that's also new. The Cap'n Islands all have a bottle recipe, unlike Nook Mile Islands, which only had a chance. But on the vine and glowing moss islands, that's guaranteed to be a vine or glowing moss recipe, I think.
Mine have always been food so far.
Because mine on the glowing moss islands have always been a vine or glowing moss recipe, which is cool.
Yeah.
But there's also... Oh, sorry.
I would say I had I got a vine recipe when I was on a vine island.
But there's also seasonal islands.
Yeah.
Like, so if you started playing in, like, summer, let's say, and you're playing in summer for your first time, you can get acorn recipes and acorns and pine cones from the fall trees. Or it's winter and you can pick up the winter stuff, or you go to a summer island and the summer shell stuff is there. And in my experience, every time you're on one of those seasonal islands, the bottle recipe is one of that season's recipes.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is a really...
that happen.
Yeah, it's a cool way for new players to get the stuff that they haven't had a chance to see in the game yet.
Yeah.
Or returning players who didn't play it like a psychopath like I did, and made sure that I got a complete set of every seasonal recipe every season last year, can pick up maybe something that they missed.
See, I had read something about, in terms of like how it determines what island you go to, that you are blocked off from seasonal islands until you've experienced the season in game already.
Oh, that's
that's
interesting.
kind of lame.
Yeah, that's what I read anyway. I don't know how accurate it is, but
yeah, I wouldn't be able to know.
Did not play if your town did not start, say winter just ended and your town starts in spring, you'll never go to a snow island until your town experiences winter. At least once.
I don't like the idea of seasonal islands at all. I just feel like it kind of circumvents the purpose of Animal Crossing, which is things happen once a year.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a random chance and it's extremely uncommon, and you don't get to do everything.
That's fair.
You get like a recipe, and you're able to collect like a resource that happens during that season. Like I had the Cherry Blossom Island, and so I was able to catch cherry blossom petals, and I got a cherry blossom recipe. But it's not like I, was able to, get all of the recipes or whatever.
Just for that
from that.
brief,
Yeah.
fleeting moment, you lived in an anime.
God.
Thanks, Captain.
Yeah.
Have either of you...
Cap'n is fun. I didn't know for a while that you could like dance to, well, not dance, but you can like clap to his songs and
Did you
have
know you can
reactions to his
skip it?
Wait,
I saw
how?
that. I haven't done it.
You have to mash B over and over and over. And the one time I did it just to test it, he got real salty with me.
Oh, wow.
He was like, "You don't have to rush things. I'm sitting here trying to sing." And I'm like, I actually liked the song. I just wanted to see the content, man.
Yeah, see what would happen.
I saw a repeat song already. I was like, oh no, how could I see the same song twice?
Oh, dude, I saw a repeat song like day 2. Like, he sang the same song to me on the second day.
Yeah. He doesn't seem like he has as many songs or different songs to sing, but I still have fun with them.
I wonder if I don't know, this is just total conjecture, but maybe they're seasonal or something. And we've only seen autumn ones, maybe. I don't know. But I mean,
oh, go ahead.
The melody is the same old melody we've been hearing for 20 years, though. So
I do like that it has both songs. The GameCube one being on the return trip.
True.
And then the newer ones on the way. It's cute.
Yeah.
Have you guys hit the Star Island yet?
No.
I
want that island.
It's really cool looking. I mean, again, it's not anything new, and if you've already gotten all of the Celeste recipes, which I'm sure plenty of people have at this point because the game's been out for almost 2 years,
yeah,
you're not going to get anything cool, but it is neat to smack those rocks and see star fragments fly out.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I haven't gotten one of those
What's
yet.
really sick about it is if you go during the day, it starts shifting into night on the boat ride.
I like that a lot.
It looks very cool.
That's fun.
Borderline romantic.
There's a lot of great touches here.
You just want to smooch Cap'n on the way.
Dude, I do. Don't tell
so
his wife.
I mean, what's her name again? Granny? I forget her name.
I don't even remember. I do like
he talks
it when
about his family, but they don't show up.
I do like it when he sings about how much he loves his daughter. It's very sweet.
Aww.
Yeah. It's also slightly concerning when he sings that song like 5 times in a row.
I mean, at least he mentions his family. Isabel doesn't talk about Digby at all.
Yeah, I'm upset that Digby isn't back for 2.0. Especially, and I think this is a good time for our next topic here, specifically the Happy Home Paradise thing, which Digby was, he was a part of the Happy Home designer team.
I was thinking the same thing.
In this game, Digby and Lyle are both replaced.
They couldn't hire the actors again.
Lyle can pound sand for all I care. That dude sucks.
Lyle sucks, but Digby didn't deserve this fate, though. But we've got Nico and Wardell, who I guess the speculation is that he's related to Wendell somehow. I like to think he's related to Wendell somehow, who has gotten the shaft for that stupid camel.
I hate the carpet camel.
I hate the carpet camel too.
I want to put that out there. Put that out there for everyone to hear.
So Sahara?
All you pipeline nation, carpet camel sucks.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't like her. Wendell was the superior one between
which game
the two
was Wendell
back in the day. GameCube. Well, he was in New Leaf as well. He would be if you went into the Dream Island, you could find him and he'd give you access to that island creator's patterns. But now he's automated. He's an electronic sign.
Oh no.
in New Horizons. But in GameCube he sold, well, he gave special carpets for fish. His whole trait is that he's a hungry bastard and he wants fish. So you give him fish and he gives you a carpet.
If you got any fish for me, I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
I got a lot of carpet. I got a lot of fish.
Yeah. And I mean, in GameCube I don't think there were rugs, and if there were, it wasn't to the degree it is now. So he would only give custom floors, but they were unique floors, kind of like Sahara's. But now she just does all of it. and
I will do a slight walk back. Carpet Camel's a lot more tolerable when you can see everything she's carrying on Harv's
oh god,
Island.
yeah,
The
yeah.
whole buy 2 rugs and another rug that I don't want, so I have enough tickets to get a mystery wallpaper.
Yeah.
It's just a tedious system.
Do her like tickets work on her Harv's Island version?
They do not.
Okay, I
She
didn't
just
think
has
so.
a regular storefront like
Yeah,
Kix and Leaf
yeah.
do.
I appreciated that she had a regular storefront, so it differentiates hers from her normal island visit. Um, but anyway, enough about Carpet Camel. We have Nico and Wardell, and we're on Paradise planning for Happy Home Paradise, which is the paid DLC. And if you have the expansion pack for Nintendo Switch Online, it's included as part of it. Normally it's $25, so I did not have to pay $25 to start playing through this, and it is very much Happy Home Designer 2. How far have you guys gotten, and what do you think of it so far?
I've gotten 3 stages in. Did the tutorial, and I think 2 after that. I made a board game Paradise for one dude, and
Nice.
what was the tutorial was the reading area, and then I did
Eloise.
and then I did the icy palace for the penguin.
Nice.
They're very cute. It's. I wish there was like some grading involved, like some way to like fail these challenges. But it's fun. It's fun to be creative and try your best.
Yeah, I've done 5 so far, so I'm not exactly the farthest in, because typically how I go through the game is I'll do my daily stuff that I need to get done or whatever I want to get done on my island, and then depending on how much time I spent doing that, I'll go to Happy Home Paradise and I'll do one house, because I take forever to design houses for animals. I spend like an hour and a half at least on each of them. So I don't really have time to like sit there and just binge houses after another. So I've only done 5 so far. I did one of the new animals that they added in the update, Marlowe. He showed up on my island. He wanted like a Hollywood style mansion. So I made him, a mansion or whatever. And the plots that you choose are fun, because some of them are basic, but others are very like, they kind of like, they're very unique. They have like inclines or multiple levels or whatever. And it's fun to kind of pick the right place for what you have an idea for what they want.
Yeah, I usually try to pick one that complements what they ask for, if it's possible.
Yeah.
Like,
Same.
I remember I did one animal who wanted like a movie theater house experience, and I was like, well, I'm gonna put them like in a valley somewhere where there's no sound. Like, I don't want waves crashing up against it. I don't want a bunch of wind. I want it to be as quiet as possible so that they can get the best acoustics that they possibly can out of this tiny house.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it because it's been memed like to hell and back on the internet. But there's this one lion who wants like a toilet house.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, you can never have too many bathrooms. And I'm like, first of all, yeah, you can definitely have too many bathrooms. But what I did was I just filled his house with toilets and put up dividers in between them. And then smack dab in the center of the room, I put the statue of David turned around so his bare butt was facing the door. So it is fun to do things like that. And I think I'm not, again, I don't want to like sound like I know anything about video game development, because I super don't, but I remember when Happy Home Designer came out, one of the biggest criticisms about that game was that it didn't really incentivize you to actually do anything.
Yeah.
Because the grading scale was just kind of non-existent. Like, they would just kind of love whatever you did.
Yeah.
Which I think has its appeal.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially for people that play Animal Crossing, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, obviously, because I
Yeah.
have 1,000 hours in this game. But I understand why you might not want to have super stringent requirements on something like that.
Yeah, it's very loosely objective based.
But I do think that they did a good job of incentivizing you to make things look cool because it automatically shares it with everybody that you know.
Yeah.
And you don't
Yeah.
want to look like some idiot in front of
Yeah.
all of your Animal Crossing
You don't wanna
friends
shame
just
yourself.
dropping yeah, you don't want to shame yourself. You want yourself to
Yeah.
at least look presentable. Or maybe you don't care about that, but just know all your friends are laughing at you if you
Yeah.
don't.
And I mean,
So,
something nice about Happy Home Designer too was that aspect where you could share, what you did with other people and they can look it up or whatever. And I know Happy Home Designer had these actual like special contests as well that added special furniture in, and that everybody had to do it within like a month's time, and you would get people would vote on them. I don't think that's here, but
that's a neat idea.
the general like setup of like you make these cool houses and then other people can see them and judge you for them is great.
And I think the idea as a whole works better as a addition to a main Animal Crossing game than it does as its own standalone thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you get rewards that you can then bring back to the actual like Animal Crossing game that everybody already likes.
Yeah, including new
Yeah.
new like customization features that make the main game
Yeah.
more fun.
Yeah, you learn, like, it's kind of funny, but like as you progress through that mode, you technically learn skills that you can then bring back to your own island and use.
And a lot of those are pretty robust, like being able to put like partitions in your house.
Yep.
Being able to, so you can redesign at one point. I haven't actually unlocked this yet, but you can eventually redesign your own villagers' houses, which I
Yeah.
actually don't think I'm super interested in doing, because I kind of like them having their own thing that I'm not altering. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like it
I-
feels
I-
a little too. It feels almost like a little bit a step too far.
For me, I never replaced the villagers that had the generic houses. So those I might do.
That's a good point. I still have one of my villagers that has a generic house, and it's my boy Teddy, and I'm not getting rid of him. He was my
Yep.
first villager. He literally has the stage 1 house. He was my jock villager starter. But
Yeah.
he rules, and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So you can kind of make like a Teddy shrine for him
Yeah.
specifically if you want
Yeah.
to.
Well, what's funny though is he's a bear, and that like base level log cabin actually kind of suits him. I've seen his regular
Yeah.
house, and it doesn't actually look that much different.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny. But I think my favorite thing, and this is really low key. I didn't expect it to be my favorite thing to bring back from the island, but it's the polishing tool.
Yes.
Because you can set a custom design as the thing that radiates off the furniture item that you polish.
Oh, that's so good.
And I've seen people do just crazy stuff with that, like set a custom design of like a flame, and then they polish everything in their house, and you walk in their house and it looks like everything's on fire.
So
But my
good.
favorite was someone set set the custom design as the face of Sherb, that blue goat that was added, that was new to New Horizons.
Yeah.
And they polished their hot tub. So there's just the steam coming off of it with the hot tub, but also like translucent Sherb's face. So it just looks like that thing is haunted by a goat.
Oh my god.
And I'm like,
That's
this
so good.
I'm like, this feature is low key the best thing you get from the Happy Home Paradise stuff.
So
Which I
got,
didn't expect. I expected it to be like, man, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I got the basic polishing function. You can hold the button down and it gets extremely stupid extremely stupid shiny. But I haven't gotten any, like, I'm assuming there are additional built-in polishing effects.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Oh, okay,
You
cool.
unlock the whole like palette of things at once. I forget what the threshold is.
Yeah, that's fine. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm still kind of going through. But it's cool that there's a number of them, and then they have the custom pattern thing, which
I
is
that to me is one of the best things about New Horizons is just how many things accept custom designs.
Yeah.
and even not even just the custom designs, but the patterns that Sable gives you.
Yeah, that too.
I've found a lot of uses for those already in Happy Home Designer when I'm trying to maybe use an item that's not in their like suggested kit, but try to make it work for the theme. Like for example, posters. Not the ones where it's like they have specific posters, but like the ones where they let you set a pattern as a poster. Like there was a flower house place I was making, and so like I made one of the frame pictures one of the flower patterns that was in in Sable's pages of designs, and that is where it comes in handy to me a lot, especially if you're not someone who makes custom patterns. Like I don't make custom patterns that much. I don't really download that many. So having a larger number of pre-built ones that you can use in most situations is awesome.
Yeah, that was a really good addition, and then it's just another like it gives people who need the like carrot on the stick an incentive to talk to Sable every day.
Yeah.
I did
yeah.
it because I love her.
Same.
And she's so sad over there in that corner. Like, why wouldn't you talk to this poor, sad hedgehog?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, like the sheer number of things you can put custom designs on is honestly just this isn't even update stuff. It's just stuff
Yeah.
that was in the main game, like cushions and
Yep.
bed sheets and the advertisement on the vending machines that you can buy with
Yeah.
Nook Miles. Your
Yep.
phone case. Like I made my phone case the Popico from Pop Team Epic. It's just like I did not expect to be able to do that much stuff with them.
Yeah.
Because custom designs have always been just kind of relegated to t-shirts and I guess like making signs in New Leaf, or if you wanted to like hang some on your wall. I know a lot of people make album covers, which is cool. Makes it look like you have a
those are
record
fun.
collection on your wall.
Yeah.
But they really knocked it out of the park with that stuff in this game for sure.
Yeah,
And
everything feels very integrated.
And a lot of even the new stuff has it on it too. So
Yeah.
try
I
to
know-
customize everything you have is what I would say to people. Because you'd be surprised.
What's fun about Happy Home Paradise is that every item that you have access to, you can immediately go and see the custom versions of stuff, and it's a very convenient way to see a lot of the different versions of stuff that exists in the game. Like I didn't know that certain items had certain customizations available for them, so I've gotten some ideas from what I've done in Happy Home Paradise to bring back to my own house or whatever.
Same.
And then there's facilities. So I haven't done a facility yet. I know the first one is the school. I know in Happy Home Designer, once you built the facility, you could assign animals as like the different roles in the facility. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, you can do that. I've only done the school as far as facilities go, but yeah, you assign people to work there, which I think is kind of funny on the vacation island. It's like, hey, buddy, guess what? Get to work.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I guess this is a minor spoiler if you don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I guess since we're here. I don't know how this would work for any of the other facilities past the school, or if this even happens again. But once I built the school, a couple days later, Leaf was wandering around on the Paradise Island. And I was like, oh, am I going to have to, like, build some kind of creepy flower hell for this sloth? But no, actually he showed up and he's like, hey, I'm here to teach a workshop on flowers at the school. I heard there's a new school that just opened, and I want to give a lecture about flowers. Do you want to come see it?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I do." And you go there and you listen to him talk about flowers for a little while, and it unlocks the ability to use the hybrid flowers in your when you're designing the yards.
Oh, that's so cool.
So you're not just tied down to the base flowers like you are at the beginning of the DLC. You can use everything from gold roses to blue roses to purple pansies, whatever. It unlocks all of them.
That's super cool. I like how that kind of ties. It makes the facility designing feel more integrated into the game.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it really did that in Happy Home Designer outside of like being able to assign people jobs. I did a few facilities, but I don't remember an event like that happening.
Well, it's almost like, why would it, right?
Yeah.
I guess it would make sense still, but
yeah. I mean,
I've also heard
that cool.
I've also heard that Happy Home Paradise has an absolute banger of an ending, which makes me want to see it. Wow. The only reason I haven't seen it is because Shin Megami Tensei 5 came out, and I am a nightmare person. I would probably have finished it by now if that wasn't the case. But yeah, I've heard that the ending is really, really good. The credit sequence is apparently quite good.
Oh, that's cool. I'm looking forward to that then. Yeah, I've just been taking my time and slowly going through Happy Home Paradise.
Yeah, I'm like you is the thing. Like, I take like an hour to make a house, and then I'm like, man,
I'm not doing it.
I'm exhausted. That was actual work.
Yep.
At first, I was basically doing enough houses to buy everything that was in the little gift shop or whatever. But I got tired of doing that real quick because that was like five. That was like 4 houses at once. Wow. I do know.
Oh, go ahead.
I do know. Eventually, you unlock a thing that lets you like turn bells into Pokey.
Yeah,
so that cool. Alleviates that a little bit. I don't know when that comes, but looking forward to that one.
Oh, one of my favorite features there is the taking the picture of the house afterward, because I love the new photo features, especially the first person. That's just like such a great different way to see the Animal Crossing world, and it makes it just like the scale of it is very impressive, and it's like, whoa, I'm in this house taking a picture of these silly animals.
I found the first person a teensy bit disappointing on the main island.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it sucks outside.
Because I expected you to be able to, like, look around.
Yeah.
Like, I expected that if I had a sideways bench, I could walk up to it in first person and actually take a picture of the
that is
the
a
person
shame.
There.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still it's you're only looking where your character would be looking forward. You can't turn left or right, which I found a little bit disappointing. Yeah.
Though inside you have full 360-degree movement, but outside it sucks that there's... I guess they just didn't want to render the other stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense, because, I mean, you have full 360-degree camera control in the houses anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I was struggling with a photo that I wanted to take outside of the house for once, because usually I prefer the interiors for photos, but... This house, I liked what I had done in the yard, and setting it up was kind of a big fat pain. And it still wasn't great because I couldn't, like, turn the camera outside. But in terms of, like, the function itself, even outside, it's cool to be able to have a way to take better pictures outside. Because previously it was kind of super hit or miss, and usually... what you would use the camera app for wouldn't be that much better than what you could just use the capture button for. That it would, like, you know, that you would want to go in and mess with it. Now with the first person and the tripod mode, it's a lot of fun.
The additional filters are pretty funny too.
Yeah, that's true. They added that fisheye.
Yeah, the fisheye one's a riot for sure.
That's great.
There's another thing I think we should touch on. An update, it was part of the free update, not the Happy Home Paradise stuff. speaking of going into houses, I would actually like to say that is a returning feature from New Leaf. I don't think it was in the games before New Leaf. But I actually kind of hate it when I'm in my house and a villager just shows up.
I hate that.
Yeah.
It's actually really irritating. And it's like, I know that I do this to you, where I just walk in your goddamn house without saying anything, without being invited. But
damn.
But I'm busy, dude.
Yeah.
It was like, well, the first time it happened to me, Ken, the chicken, I don't
Yeah, that happened to me too. It was Ken.
Ken walks in my house, and I'm like, dude, I'm like trying to do something here. And he's like, hey, you want to play a game? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Just what's the game?
Yeah, the game is like, get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah. The game's like guess high or low. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's
is
what
it like
we got
the Igloo
here.
game kind of?
No, it's like he draws a card, and the card has a number on it, and then he's going to draw a second card, and you have to guess if the card is higher or lower than the first card. So this stupid chicken is like, hey, you want to play this game, high or low? I'm like, yeah, whatever, sure, let's do it. He pulls a 2, and I'm like, well, I'm going to win this game. That's going to be higher. There's no way that idiot's going to pull one. He pulls a goddamn 1, and I'm like, can't get out of my house. Get out of here right now. I'm so sick of you. You weirdo
That little
chicken.
game is kind of like the games that they would play like in the igloo or in the campsite if you talk to the animals.
Yeah, I hate those.
Sure, yeah.
They're just like, they feel rigged.
Oh, they're great. That's why I like them, because they're rigged. But I know, like, I haven't had it happen yet, but like in the previous games that had that house feature, you would talk to an animal and sometimes they'd ask you to come over at a certain time.
I like that better.
Or other times they would ask if they could come over at a certain time. And that's kind of how I thought it was going to play out. I haven't seen that happen yet. I've just seen randomly there'll be an animal will come in my house while I'm trying to do something, and I'll be like, you can't decorate while company's over, and like, fuck you, get out of my house.
Yeah.
If you have cockroaches there, they'll be like, oh, I gotta go, bye.
Yeah. I saw that happen too. The other, I haven't seen the scheduling thing. I do remember that from New Leaf. But now it's, you know when your villagers walking around with a cloud over their head?
Yeah.
That's been, like, going to their house or coming to your house has been added to the pool of options.
Oh, okay.
That can entail, I guess.
That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't encountered that yet.
But going to their house is the same thing. It's just like, hey, you want to play high or low? And I'm like,
you need to learn a new game.
Yeah, you need to learn a better game. And it's like it's like you win, and they're like, oh, you won. Here's your athletic track jersey, and I'm like, oh, go one for the pile. Fantastic.
Here's your paper bag over your head.
Oh, thanks, Muffy. I've always wanted one of these.
I have a Bucky McBadbat costume as one of my wand outfits with the paper bag over my head.
I haven't edited my wand costumes in a long time.
Yeah.
I had one that said I put on my robe and wizard hat, and I just put on a robe and wizard hat.
I have a few random ones. I had one when I was just testing it out, because I got a wand for Bunny Day. So I was like, all right, all these Bunny Day clothing items are just going to live on this wand slot just for me to test it out. So I'm the freaking bunny queen.
I'm a ground egg. I'm a sky egg. Have you seen what happens if you do Amiibo zipper to the Happy Home Island and make him a house?
No.
I saw a screenshot or something of it, but I don't remember.
He's just like, oh, I really feel like I can unwind and take off my costume here. And he's like, that's a metaphorical costume. Don't think about it too much. And I'm like, I'm thinking about it. I see the zipper.
Yeah, I guess on that note, before we end here, I just wanted to touch a little bit on the Amiibo functionality that has already been in the game, and the new stuff they've added, which is Amiibo for the cafe and Amiibo for making houses for people in Happy Home Paradise. Have either of you used any of those?
I summoned Rossetti to the cafe.
Oh, you did?
because I absolutely had to see him rendered in glorious high definition. And he's so real that it like when I say real, I don't mean he looked real because of the high definition. I mean he's so real in the like the dialogue where he's just like, man, I had some real anger issues before, and like you just can't keep living like that, man. And before I was like, I can't believe they took Rossetti out of the game because he scared children. Fuck them kids. And give me my angry mole. And now I'm like, he's grown as a person.
Yeah,
my son.
He got taken out of the game to not scare kids, and that got used as part of his story arc.
Great.
It is brilliant. Mm-hmm. I have to really hand it to the writers there. They nailed that.
There's a lot of new dialogue that was added. Obviously, the cafe stuff, there's a lot. But even, like, I've noticed some stuff when talking to characters that there's a couple of different new things they talk about sometimes, which is nice.
Yeah, it definitely was starting to get a little stale.
Yeah.
And by a little, I mean a lot.
Yeah, the dialogue that you would get in this game talking to villagers previously was not as great as previous games. Yeah. And I still don't think it is, but I think it's improved, which is nice.
That's good. And they made Isabelle better with this patch.
They did. Oh,
because now she's actually like, hey, so some people were talking to me about what you should do if you find someone washed up on the beach not breathing. And I'm like, oh, that means I have one of those stupid birds, huh?
Yeah.
That's a good call.
CJ is here today. All right, cool, well, bye. As opposed to, I found my missing sock for the 38th time in a row.
I saw a good TV show last night. Okay.
No.
I called my mom and dad.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Not my brother,
though. Not my freaking brother, who's the only one I care about.
And they further canonized the lizard and the otter boys being gay with each other, which is always appreciated.
Yeah, flicking CJ.
Yeah, they're just roommates. Wink.
Yeah, it's totally just roommates and business partners.
Yeah.
I know you can also spawn. You know, they made it so that pretty much all the special amiibo and everybody are except for like the ones that you'd get like scanning like the Zelda amiibo and stuff. They made all the Animal Crossing amiibo functional for the game now, so you can use them in Photopia if you feel like doing that, or the cafe, or making them a house on Happy Home Paradise. And I'm pretty sure, at least this was the way it was in Home Designer, is that you would only be able to make houses for the special characters if you had their amiibo, because you know they're not normal villagers. Like you can make a house for Isabelle if you use her amiibo in Happy Home Paradise.
One of her many amiibo.
What?
There's one of her many amiibo.
Yeah, I don't understand.
She has like 3 cards into it. You don't understand.
No. I mean, no. My point was that she gets to have 3 or whatever, but they didn't make a card for my boy Gullivar. And I'm very upset about that. It's a weird exclusion.
Just draw a pirate hat on the Gullivar card.
He has the dumb pirate puns. He's literally the same, except his dialogue is pirate, and it's great.
Yeah, it's pirate instead of sailor.
I want to have a conversation with Gullivar at the cafe, or make a pirate house for you.
That's a pretty good thought. I saw Daisy May in the cafe the other day, and she was sitting there without her hat on, eating a cookie. And it was the most precious thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the special NPCs in the cafe yet. I've actually only seen 2 of my villagers show up in the cafe, and one of them was today.
So interestingly enough, I saw Daisy May in the cafe after noon on a Sunday, which is when she stopped selling turnips.
When she's done,
I wonder if that's like a more common occurrence.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
like you'll see her then specifically.
That's a cool touch if they show up there after. You know, I guess at the end of the day, I'm just sad that my male people didn't get Digby and my male people didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, my most missed people are the Pelicans and Trunk.
I I won't lie. I miss Copper and Booker. I love them. I don't care.
Yeah,
I know.
they were great in the GameCube one. Very.
I wish they had them do the exercises again. That would have been the perfect use for them. Is that they do the town stretching or whatever.
After like a
That,
year of playing on New Leaf, none of my villagers ever asked for the police station.
yeah.
So I'm just saying I don't need cops.
They finally asked me in New Leaf, and I was like, "Let's go!" Finally, because I had my Lost and Found back, which is now a box in.
Yeah.
In
It was
this
it was a little
box.
it was a little I mean it was a little darker in Wild World when they were the quote unquote border patrol. Now that I think about it,
yeah,
that
they're
was
the
that was
security dogs.
that was a little weird.
Dude, they could have like the club come back, and they could be the security guards for the club, and that would be fine.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I miss
There's no
Club
Cornimer
KK.
card either, by the way, as far as I'm aware. There's no Cornimer amiibo card, which is obviously
Yeah,
the biggest heartbreak.
I mean
Uh,
apparently if you use the DJ KK card at the cafe, he's in the DJ get up,
yeah, I've heard that. I
which is
I
cool.
I saw something about, I don't know if it's accurate or not, but if you summon him in a certain spot, he'll play the DJ versions of um, songs or whatever.
Oh, that's neat.
Uh,
I
I
was
don't know
kind
if
of
that's
hoping
accurate.
I was kind of hoping they'd move him to the Roost for his Saturday night
Yeah,
performance,
That'd be cool.
honestly.
that's what I was thinking. Or like a different day of the week, it would be DJ KK night or
Yeah.
something. Um, and one thing I do like, one last thing I do like is the music boxes are no longer like you can just access your entire music
That's so
library in them
cool.
now.
I need to get a music box. If anyone has one to send me, I might hit you up after
Yeah,
this.
like instead of having to craft like get a song or like a an air check and craft it with the box to make the box, you just have access to the whole.
Mhm.
It just pops up your whole library, which is
Oh,
cool.
so it's like just using any normal radio.
Yeah, but it'll play the music box version.
That's
That's
rad. I
great.
actually didn't
Yeah.
know
Does
that.
it have a different
Yeah.
interface for picking out the songs?
No,
Okay.
it's the exact same interface, but it's the music box versions of those.
I can live with that for the
Yeah.
Yeah.
convenience.
Yeah, it's much more convenient because I had a bunch of duplicate tracks in um my storage, and I was like, oh, I'll probably use these for music boxes, and then I got a music box, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. um,
Speaking of KK, real quick before we start wrapping it up,
oh yeah,
Chillwave is a jam. That
yeah,
song is
Chillwave's
a
good.
vibe,
I
man.
got which one was it? KK, was it Bashment?
I
I
think
can't
that's one of
remember.
the new ones. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, that one's a bop too.
KK's so good.
Mhm.
Animal
KK's
Crossing in
perfect.
general is just so good, you
It's
guys.
great. I got back into it with
Yeah.
this. Like I thought nothing can get me back into New Horizons, but I'm back in and I'm having fun and I'm still gonna keep playing.
I had
Yeah.
never stopped, and I got to be honest. If anyone listening, if you stopped playing the game like after a couple months or whatever, the Happy Home Paradise stuff be damned. The free stuff they added is more than enough,
Mhm.
more than
Yeah.
enough to hook you. And I honestly think you're in a better spot to enjoy all of it than someone who did spend an ungodly amount of time playing the game beforehand. And I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it quite a bit. But I actually think that people who were a little more conservative in their playtime or that got bored with it earlier on are in a very good spot to like come back and be like, wow, this is kind of like playing a new game.
Yeah, I would say there's so much that's been added since launch at this point that if you're someone who dropped off at launch, it's basically a different game now.
If you stopped playing because all of your fish were eggs 2 weeks after the game came out, which I totally understand because Bunny Day was a
Yep.
fresh hell that I'll never forget.
Now we're talking
Then
about Jared.
now's a great time to,
God,
maybe give it another shot.
I hated Bunny Day so much.
We all did.
Yeah.
So, on that note, I guess I'd like to ask you guys for your final thoughts on everything that's been added, how you feel about the game as a whole now that it's likely content complete. I guess we can start with, we'll start with Jared this time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I was definitely one of the one of the grumps at the beginning who was like, "Oh no, not the same as New Leaf," and not the same amount of content, but it's beyond now. I think it's definitely like at least New Leaf in terms of size, or maybe even bigger. But it's enjoyable and fun, and they've added some good stuff. I really needed to dive into cooking and just continue collecting and doing the happy home stuff. But I'm having a great time.
Yeah. What about you, James?
I admittedly was one of those people that caped for the game pretty hard when it first came out, because I tried to accept it for what it was instead of what it wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt that the whole DIY system, all of the terraforming stuff, like that was clearly stuff that they put a lot of time and effort into making useful and interesting.
Yeah.
If a little clunky, especially terraforming, but
Right.
it was stuff that was new and felt fresh and cool, and I definitely missed all that old stuff that wasn't in there. Uh, but it didn't totally ruin it for me. I think now it is the game that I wished it was when it launched, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually do think a lot of this stuff probably would have come earlier if it hadn't been for the nightmare we've all been living through for the past couple of years. But
Yeah.
because like you look at something like the Thanksgiving event last year with all the cooking that entailed with like the fish and stuff, I really feel like those systems were like they probably intended for cooking to be in the game by then,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
wasn't. So
Yeah,
now
I'm curious about how that'll be this year.
So now it's a perfect time to like come back and give it another shot. And in fact, I've seen several people who were grumps about it at the beginning come back, give it a second shot, and be like, "Wow, this is
Yeah.
actually quite a good entry in the Animal Crossing series."
And I'll say I still liked it a lot, but despite being a grump, I'm just a grump in general.
I mean, I
I was
usually am
not.
too.
I was not a grump on this. I felt similarly to James that they added a lot of new stuff, and I was okay that they had focused on new stuff and doing something different as opposed to bringing back all of the old content. But I'm definitely happy that they brought back more of the old content and more new stuff as well.
Yeah.
So
And I
it
got back
feels
most
very
of the old stuff that I wanted.
Mhm.
Yes, I didn't
Yeah.
get Shrunk. Yes, I didn't get the Pelicans.
Yeah.
But they brought back morning calisthenics, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they brought back Cap'n, and you know,
Yep.
they brought back
We got the
Tortimer,
roost at the end of the day.
and they brought back the Roost. And it's very funny watching people be like, "This is what everybody wanted," because they went in and talked to Brewster once,
Yep.
and they're like, "He just gave me a cup of coffee," and I'm like, "You didn't even get the pigeon milk yet, man.
Yeah.
You got to get the pigeon milk.
Yeah, you can't complain about it without getting the pigeon milk.
You cannot judge this man's work and livelihood until you get that pigeon milk."
But yeah, I think overall I'm extremely satisfied at this point with the game and its quote unquote final form. I know there's still probably some seasonal items and minor things coming, at least like some of the bug fixes and stuff they've done so far. But in terms of like actual content, it's pretty much complete at this point, and I think it's a blast. I think maybe the one thing I think is still lacking a little bit is holidays. I thought there were going to be a few more events and holidays, even if they were simple. But with everything that's going on in that game, or in this game, it's just there's so much to do and see. I could not possibly be like, I played this game for 360 hours and I hated it. Like,
No, I could
you know
definitely
what I mean?
say that. I've definitely no. I want to start getting into that. I guess one last thing I would like to say is that I think it is a little lame that there aren't other Nintendo items.
Oh yeah,
I would actually be cooler with the Mario stuff not being in the game if there's not also going to be other Nintendo items. Maybe that's a dumb take, but like if they're going to distance themselves from the rest of the Nintendo franchises, they may as well distance them from Mario too.
yeah, that's fair. Although I think what they've done with the Mario items this time is more interesting, in terms of like their functions and stuff. Like being able to run through coins is really cute.
The pipe is really
pipe.
useful.
Yeah.
I will say that.
The other thing for me is we unfortunately did not get any mini games like Welcome Amiibo.
Yeah.
So Puzzle League.
That was tragic.
Or whatever didn't happen, which again, it's not necessary by any means. I would have appreciated it, but
Clay, I could fill an entire podcast complaining about Puzzle League not being available in
we could say
basically
any
any
number
form.
of things, about any number of features or ideas that we had, not making it. And I personally wish cooking was kind of better integrated into the game, because as it is right now, you kind of just do it if you want, I guess.
Well, it's basically just another DIY system. It's like, I want to have a plate of fish over here.
It would be nice to
like
have
if you
like a
had to
little cooking mama mini game in there.
Or if you had to like make food for animals or something, if it was like integrated into the game a bit better. But that's an outlier because most of this game systems are very integrated. But anyway, so that was our big Animal Crossing 2.0 Happy Home Paradise episode. Wanted to thank James for being with us today. Do you have anywhere that people can find you if they're looking for you?
Yeah, James Tweet Zone on Twitter, and James in the Discord, just generally shitting things up.
Sounds about right. And thanks, Jared, for being here as well. A couple quick notes. If you are listening to this, you're probably listening to it on YouTube, or maybe you're listening onto Apple Podcasts. But if you go to Anchor, we're on Spotify and Google Podcasts and all kinds of stuff too. So if you enjoy what you hear, definitely we appreciate you following it, and you'll find out when we get new episodes, which should be stabilizing now, as being pretty much Sunday every week. We do also have a community blog that is nintendopipeline.wordpress.com that rarely gets updated, but has a good amount of legacy content that you can go and check out. And there's also a link to our Discord there if you want to join there, where we're talking about dumb Nintendo stuff and other stuff all the time. So on that note, that's it for today, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Later.